So here are the 4 pieces of advice. First one is care about the people around you. Second one is be open to the unexpected and unwanted. The third one is pursue your passion where there is a need. And the last one is it's never too late to learn something difficult. So let me start with care about the people around you. Every achievement that I value has come about through support and advice from my husband and our 2 children, as well as from my parents, my sisters and their families, and my closest friends, especially the many I worked with at UBC. But I mean this piece of advice more broadly. I mean it to care about all the people with whom you interact. By caring, I mean listening to their concerns, helping them to solve their problems and to achieve their goals. When we started to build the computer science department in 1988, we were constantly competing for faculty and students with institutions that were better known: MIT, Carnegie Mellon, Stanford, the University of Toronto, Waterloo, etc. They were better known and had much more money. So it meant they could pay higher salaries, they could provide more equipment, and all of those kinds of things. We decided that our only possible advantage was to make UBC Computer Science a better place to work and learn by making it a place where the community cared about everyone and everyone's ideas counted. Gradually, we attracted people who shared this value. And this ideal is still something that the department today strives to attain. And I believe that it's the primary reason for the department's amazing success over the last 20 years. But why should caring about the people around you matter to you, today's graduates? The answer is that it's because the relationships that you build throughout your career are the ones that will open the most important doors. And even more importantly, the people that you help succeed will be the people who help you succeed. Now, this is Canada, and I almost feel like this piece of advice was unnecessary, because Canada is a kinder, gentler country, as I hear all the time in the US. But it's explicit to be aware of it consciously. It's important to be aware of it consciously. And so I hope you will bear that in mind as you go into, some of you will be going off to graduate school, others of you to your first jobs. It actually will help you. So the second one, be open to the unexpected and unwanted. The afternoon that I met my husband of 30 years and the center of my life, Nick Pippinger, was the same day that I swore off men for all time, in the morning. When I was approached about the opportunity of being president at Harvey Mudd College, I was pretty sure I didn't want the job. Ditto for Dean of Engineering at Princeton, Head of Computer Science at UBC, and joining IBM Research in San Jose. Yet each of these unwanted opportunities ended up being one of the best choices in my life. And of course, number 1 was marrying Nick. Number 2 was having our 2 children. I could go on from there, but. Number 3, pursue your passion where there is a need. I've had 2 lifelong passions, mathematics and painting. Actually, I have many lifelong passions: music, reading, children, cats, birds, teaching, the outdoors, and many more recent ones. But math and art have been core themes in my life since my preteen years. When I was doing my PhD, I was sure my career would be as a math professor at a Canadian university. It never happened. There were only a couple of academic openings for pure mathematicians in Canada the year I got my PhD. I didn't get either of them. I did get an assistant professorship at a university in Michigan and took it, but I hated it. Mostly for lifestyle reasons: no ethnic restaurants, no foreign movies, no bookstores, no boyfriends, and no other Canadians. By chance, I discovered that some of the mathematicians whose research I respected were professors in computer science rather than math departments, and that there were a lot of job openings in computer science departments. Unfortunately, I knew nothing about computer science. So I decided to do a second PhD in computer science, and in the fall of 1978, I started as a graduate student at the University of Toronto. My plan was to complete the course requirements in my first year and to write my thesis in the second. 5 months later, I was being asked to apply for positions in computer science departments. When Toronto heard I was interviewing for positions elsewhere, they demanded that I apply to their department too. I did, and in the fall of 1979, so that's 1 year after I started that PhD program, started as an assistant professor in computer science at the U of T. Since then, I've spent much of my research career working on math problems related to computer science. The point of this story is that I wanted to do mathematics at a time when the world needed computer scientists. Oh my goodness. I ended up being both a mathematician and a computer scientist and being passionate about both disciplines. What about my passion for painting? After graduation, my PhD graduation, I kept on painting, but I hid it from everyone but my closest friends and family until I turned 40. I thought it was hard enough to be taken seriously as a female researcher in mathematics and computer science without having people know that I was an artist too. On my 40th birthday, I came out of the closet. I framed 14 paintings and hung them in my home and office. About 12 years ago, I started painting at meetings, board meetings, conferences, workshops, because so many of them happened on weekends, and weekends were my painting time. Surprisingly, I found this made me a better participant at meetings because painting kept me from talking too much. People started asking for my paintings, so I started giving paintings to people to celebrate achievements like graduating or to thank them for contributions to my favorite universities. And today, when I sell paintings, I donate the funds to my favorite universities. One of them, of course, is UBC, and I'd just like to say there's a Science One scholarship that was funded almost entirely, to my father's name, by selling paintings. Many of them to members of the UBC community. Seems appropriate. Okay. The last piece of advice, it's never too late to learn something difficult. You're probably wondering why I would tell you this when most of you are still young, full of energy, and have just completed an intense period of learning difficult things. But even at your age, there are some things most people think it's too late to learn, or at least too late to learn to be really good at it. Playing a musical instrument if you didn't start as a kid, or learning abstract math if you weren't good at math in high school. Well, I'm here to tell you that most people are just wrong. If there's something you're interested in learning, it's never too late. It just might take you longer than people who started at a younger age. 3 years ago, I decided to learn to ride a skateboard. Actually, technically, it's a longboard. There are skateboards and longboards everywhere at Harvey Mudd College, and I'd always wanted to be able to ride one. Most Mudd students don't ride one before arriving on campus, but they learn in the first week or two on campus. After 3 years, I've just about gotten to the 2-week proficiency stage of our students. And learning has had so many benefits. My balance has improved. Better still, even the shyest students like to talk to me when I'm on my skateboard. Apparently, I look like such a klutz that I become totally non-threatening to them. And yes, I wear a helmet and what seems like about a dozen pads. Knees, elbows, wrists, tailbone, hip bones. It's a good thing since I still fall every few months. I told you stole my story. The important thing about learning something that you find particularly challenging is that it helps you become a much better learner and a much better teacher. Our society generally advises people to focus on what comes easily to them. I think it's also important to focus on learning things we find difficult. If you can remember these 4 pieces of advice, care about the people around you, be open to the unexpected and unwanted, pursue your passion where there is a need, and it's never too late to learn something difficult, or even just a couple, you will do very well in your career. Congratulations to all of today's graduates. I am deeply proud to join you in becoming one of UBC's newest alums. Thank you.